Hello Somerville, my name is Ed Halloran and welcome to the Somerville Labor Show. This is our very first show and you're very lucky because this is the debut of our show. I'm very excited to be here. I just want to let you know who I am before we get into this whole thing. My name is Ed Halloran once again. I'm with the Somerville Municipal Employees Association and I've been the president for approximately 11 years now and have worked for the city for about 25 years. We do have quite a bit of members that represent the city, so when you walk into City Hall, you're going to see people in City Hall that are in the SMEA, our librarians, our school nurses, our Department of Public Works laborers, and a whole host of people, inspectional services. So I'm excited to be here. I'm not here representing them specifically, but we've been talking about having a labor show for a couple of years now. We think it's something that's very exciting in the city. There's so much going on, and we're happy to be doing it, I can tell you. One thing I want to mention, that one of the reasons why we're doing this too is that throughout the country right now, we've witnessed egregious abuses of power over the years. And there's been erosion of workers' rights, salaries, both union and non-union. And we've seen workers demonized when they stand up for their lawful rights. Past history has shown that retaliation, discrimination, and harassment, it still exists in the workplace, so it's everywhere. And we want to make people aware of that it's out there. We hope to accomplish some other things on the program is to educate the public what labor and how it affects all of us, because all of us are laboring. This isn't just one thing. And this isn't a soapbox for unions. This is about union, non-union, and we want to be a drop-in kind of a center where people can just come in and say, hey, I want to find out what they're talking about today. What's going on in labor? What's happening in the city? And because when they see all this construction and all these things that are going on outside right now, people want to understand it. They want to know about it. So we're very excited to have it. The show is not only about, like I said, union workers, but we also want the viewers to understand the impact on our communities, our economy, and our neighborhood. One thing I also want to say before I begin to introduce my guest is that we will be interviewing a series of special guests. Now, they're experts in their field of labor. And with that said, it didn't take me very long to decide who would be the very first guest on this show. And for me, I had the honor of collaborating with this community organizer. Most recently, in the April 2018 labor rally, Somerville Stands Together. And most importantly, she has been instrumental in the formation of our revolution in Somerville and continues to work on all of these capacities. And quite frankly, I don't know how she finds the time to do some of the things that she does. So before I introduce her, I'd like you to just take a look at this clip. If you could roll it, please. Thank you.
Today to say that to be a progressive in Somerville means that you stand hand in hand with workers.
I grew up in this city and I loved working and living here. But when it came time for me to raise a family and buy a house, I couldn't afford to stay in Somerville. That's shameful.
Low wages can force families to have to reside together in one room while sharing an apartment due to the high cost of rent.
The City of Somerville's tagline, and they have this tagline, think about it, okay? It's a great place to live, work, and play, right? If you want to elect non-union city workers who got that raise from the administration, you can do that here, okay? The rest of us have to live outside the City of Somerville.
Somerville! Together! Working people! Together!
We are tired of hearing that there's no money for public workers to have contracts. We are tired of watching the city give tax breaks to the wealthy developers and getting waivers on affordable housing too. We are tired of being told that we have to choose between public housing or worker standards and rights on construction jobs.
We need to stay united. We can't be divided by false choices. We need all workers to be united in Somerville because City Hall and the big money developers want us divided.
When we fight,
we win!
when we fight,
We win!
My first guest is Penelope Jennewein. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to see you. It's my honor to have you here.
Thank you.
And I'm going to tell you why. One of the things, I'll tell you why it's my honor. It's my honor because I've been doing this for a long time, getting involved in labor my entire life, and to see someone that's coming in with new ideas, fresh ideas, that wants to do something for labor and really cares. It's refreshing, and it really is, and it's a revolution, right? It's a revolution,
is,
man.
yeah.
And we got to talk about this revolution thing, and that's what I'm here for. So in that video that we just watched, to me, it was like you were fired up,
Yes.
right?
I was fired up, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be fired up about in
Yeah.
Somerville
So
right now.
tell me what it was in that particular rally that got you, really excited about doing it. What was it that, like, how did you feel that day about the whole thing?
I mean, it was an amazing day. We had a couple hundred people, workers from all different unions, people who had come off the job, in construction, carpenters, iron workers, and then we had, my friends who, come from all, some of them work in labs, some of them are academics, and all types of people coming together, and uniting around a shared set of values and ideas about what we want Somerville to be in the future.
Well, I think we all want the same thing, because I saw the same thing that you saw. We saw construction workers, we saw professionals there. Up at City Hall, we saw people that had many different issues that are ongoing in the city right now, and it needs to be corrected.
Yes.
And I think coming together, and as that Somerville Stands Together group is, I think it's going to happen. It's a happening thing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, let's get to it. All right, let's talk about our revolution. And about a year ago, I didn't know what our revolution was. Well, I knew what it was. I mean, I understood the whole Bernie Sanders campaign. The energy that came out of that campaign was amazing.
Yeah.
And he's an older gentleman, really knows, really understands, what people are going through. It resonates with so many different people. And I was excited about it myself, actually.
Yeah.
And so how did this whole thing take place? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how this happened, and how did the Our Revolution campaign get started in the city itself? Was it a spin-off of the whole Bernie thing?
Yes, yeah. So I'd say the Our Revolution group here in Somerville really had its roots back in the Bernie campaign around the primary. We had a ton of people get really active and really delivered Somerville for the Bernie campaign. So that's really where it has its roots. And then maybe 6 months, a year after that experience of people really activating around the Bernie campaign, when he made the call for for each community to create their own activist group, we started one here in Somerville, and well, not we, that was Rand Wilson started that.
Okay.
And
I don't know him. I'm just joking.
And then he put the call out, and then over time we built what the organization is today, which is at least a couple hundred active people here in the city who, like you said, are uniting around a shared set of
So obviously,
values.
how were you received? I think you were doing some door knocking and some canvassing.
Yes.
That's always a little difficult at times for people, but
yes. So yeah, that was our first campaign. Was a big door knocking effort where probably for, I think it was either 12 or 13 weeks, I door knocked every single weekend up to the city council elections in this November 2017.
it's a lot of work.
A lot of work, and we had a lot of dedicated people come out every single weekend and just do the work of talking to our neighbors about the issues. And we were door knocking around a slate of candidates that we had chosen, and said that these are the candidates who will unite around the kind of Somerville that we want to see. And primarily, the issues for us are, racial and economic justice.
So the issues that Our Revolution wants to see, what are some of those issues that you just mentioned? A couple of them.
Yeah, so affordable housing. I think a lot of people leading up to the election were mobilized around the FRIT waiver in Assembly Row.
Fruit waiver, so now we have viewers at home watching, wherever they're watching from.
Yeah.
But I don't think they know what FRIT is.
FRIT, I think, stands for Federal Realty Investment Trust,
Okay.
a developer who's the developer for Assembly Row, basically the city negotiated an agreement with them where we, as a law, have the city have a requirement for I think 12% affordable
Inclusionary zoning.
when you're building a development, to have requirements for affordable housing. And the city negotiated an agreement with them which significantly reduced the amount of actual housing being built, and in turn we're going to donate some money to the city. And a lot of people were really upset about that decision.
We lost quite a bit of units
Yes.
due to this buy down.
Yes.
And that would have created more affordable housing.
Yes.
Which we have a major issue with, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we don't have a lot of time, Penelope, but we're going to get into it. Okay. I got to talk about Bernie Sanders a little bit. One more, just because when he came, what was it like? I mean, did you have an opportunity to be there, and was it energetic or?
Yeah. So we heard that he was coming about a week, maybe 2 weeks before he was coming, and somehow I got roped into being one of the big planners
you're
for that
always going to get roped
event.
in. You know that. That's how it goes. That's good.
So I got to experience planning an event for 300 people, which I had never done before, so that was cool for me.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool event. He came and endorsed the candidates that Our Revolution Somerville had endorsed in our city council elections, and also Our Revolution Cambridge.
Great.
So we had all the candidates on the stage, and he recognized them and spoke about how important it is to get involved locally, that these issues that we see at the national level, they play out here locally, and we as citizens have the most impact here locally, because it is our community, and so it's on us to get involved here.
Well, I've always said this, we elect people to do something for us. And so many times they tend to stray away and end up doing things on their own, and some people think that they know what's best for us. And I think that's really what gets people, upset,
I think so.
That's what causes, and something that makes us better? Because every time there's a negative that goes on, and some group gets together like an Our Revolution or a Somerville Stands Together, I'm just making a comment, this isn't a soapbox, okay? But that just seems to solidify them, and get them going.
Right.
So it's exciting. I mean, I'm a little late in on the Our Revolution thing, but I'm picking up on it, I'm getting it, and I'm understanding, I get the vibe. How many members do we have in Our Revolution right now?
So we have an email list that's a couple thousand people, but of our core membership, people who come to our citywide meetings, we have a couple hundred people who I would say really consider themselves members and are active in the work that we do. Okay,
and well, I got to ask this other question right now. What have we got going on? I mean, what have we done? Tell me what we've done in Our Revolution over the past year. I know you told us some things.
Yes.
Maybe there's something I don't know about.
Well, so I think the main victory that we can point to is what happened in the November 2017 City Council elections, where we helped these candidates get into office who were challengers, who people thought really not sure if they have a chance. So people like J.T. Scott in Ward 2, Ben Camp in Ward 3, Jesse Klingon, Matt McLaughlin. We helped him. He had, of course, already been in office, and Willem Baugh, people like that who were challengers. They won. The entire slate.
And it's really, for me, I'm still kind of shaking my head a little bit, because some of them are long-time incumbents, and not that you have to get into the whole thing about it, but I mean, how was this able to take place? Was there just this groundswell of people in the city that, or did you guys were very instrumental in doing a lot of that and working old style campaigning? I guess.
Well, I mean, as a group, Our Revolution knocked on 3,500 doors, which that's a lot. I think next time around we'll do at least double that. But I think we talked to people who aren't usually targeted by campaigns. We talk to young people who are renters, who maybe don't really vote in municipal elections. We went to all over the city, many different neighborhoods, and I think we got the word out that politics is local, and that if you want to get involved in what's going on in this country, why don't you start right in your neighborhood?
I think the take I just got out of that was you're talking about people who are not normally, you don't knock on their door. Some people don't normally knock on their door.
Yes.
That's kind of interesting. Why do you think that was?
That people don't normally knock on their door?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Is it just a certain set of people where a politician will go, you know, I can knock on this person's door, maybe they're friendly to what I'm selling, you know, what I'm doing,
well,
whatever.
usually what happens is, you know, elections there's on such a timeline, and they're not part of a movement. They're just like one person trying to get elected. What happens is they don't have enough time, so they only spend their time knocking on the doors of people who they know are going to go vote. Reliable voters.
Oh, they get the guaranteed vote. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we spent our time knocking on doors of people who had never voted before in a municipal election.
That's
but
great.
they did vote, and we also got the data. So we got people who voted in the Bernie election, in the Bernie primary, and people who had never voted in a municipal election. And we thought those are the people that we could activate. And then we found that people that we knocked on their door and we made contact and had a conversation with them, those people were 200% more likely to go vote. So we were very successful in getting those people.
I'm glad you say that, because I happened to be out and about that day myself, and I had more people ask me, where's the poll? You know, because they're new to the city, they're new voters, and you know, and it's a firehouse right over there, us, like the Dante Club, you know, and all that. And people were just asking us where it was, and says, oh boy, I think we got a high turnout on our hands.
Yeah.
And you did. And you know, hey, that's something. It's really amazing. So give me an example, like, of what are you currently working on, like, right now?
Yeah, so right now we are working, a working group of our Revolution Somerville is Somerville Stands Together. So we are working in coalition with many different labor unions across the city to find our shared common values and kind of unite around the fact that working people in this city are getting screwed. And Somerville has a reputation for being a very progressive city, but why, when you look deeper, why have the municipal workers not have had a contract in a long time?
Right.
Like the people, you know, who are, you know, DPW, like the people that we see in the city making our city better, they don't have a contract.
Right.
And when our members heard that at our last citywide meeting, people were appalled because that's not the reputation that this city has, and we can't let that continue.
Yeah, it's really something. I just actually, before I came in here, I was talking to one of the members I represent, and he was out there and he was cleaning the park as he always does out there.
Yeah.
And one good thing about the municipal workers and the firefighters and the police, I mean, they're really the meat and potatoes of what goes on, the first responders, and it goes on no matter what. I mean, you're hearing of, if a contract expires at midnight tonight, you know what's going to happen? They're walking off the job. We're not walking off the job, okay? And I'm going to be honest with the viewers out there. It's a federal law, obviously. We cannot strike. We've heard this all the time. Let's walk, let's go. You hear it all the time. It's good in some workplaces, and some workplaces not. We're taking care of the people here, taking care of the residents, you know, and we're not going to abandon them. You know, that's one thing that we will not do. And I didn't want to get astray there for a second, but what about the Tufts Pilot? It's something you mentioned to me before.
Yeah.
Tell people what that is exactly.
Yeah, so that's something we're currently working on right now. So PILOT, for people who don't know, stands for payments in lieu of taxes, and that's like an agreement that is made between universities and cities because universities don't have to pay property taxes.
Right.
So it's an agreement to give either payments or community service programs or sort of things like that benefit the community.
So for people who don't know out there, they probably don't. Some people are going to be surprised to hear that. You know, because there are some people who are surprised to hear that universities don't pay it, and nobody's demonizing them because of it. It's the law.
Right.
and it's fine.
And
but
and they do pay something.
Yes.
It's and one of the problems that we have with it is that if you look at what they're paying in Boston and what Tufts is paying in Boston, it is in no way close to what they're paying in Somerville. They pay a lot more in Boston
Oh, I'm
than
sure.
in Somerville.
I'm
So we
sure.
want to try to have parity with Boston here in Somerville, so they do pay something, and they also do a number of community service programs and open up their services to residents, but it should be more. It really should.
I wonder what the plans would be for that money if you ever got that money, got that risen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that could help towards affordable housing.
Yeah.
It's one big pie.
Yeah.
Money goes in, and it would be good if it would filter. Somewhere like that. Okay, so I'm going to move off of the revolution. We're going to talk about affordable housing because we were talking about it anyway.
Yes.
I've been thinking about affordable housing for so long now. It's a monster, and how do we correct it? It hasn't been going on for just 10 years. I think it's been going on for a good 20 years because it's just, it just happens, and as the city evolves.
The change in neighborhoods.
It's just been going on. I mean, I can't walk down one street without hearing, glass clanging and breaking and, and it's fine. I mean, they're upgrading, things are looking great, but, people can't afford to live here anymore.
Right.
Right. I mean, renters, I don't know how many people we have living in apartments. I don't even know anymore from some of the things that I've heard. But what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on how we can avoid displacement and gentrification? I mean, I know it's a thing. I talked to my son about this too. He says, Dad, gentrification, man. He goes, that's just a thing. I mean, that's going to happen. That's just the way, it's not just the way it goes when I talk to some people. It's not just the way it is. It's not something that's acceptable, that we should have to accept. That's just my thought on it.
Yeah.
But what's your thought on it?
No, I agree. I think everyone wants safer neighborhoods. Everyone wants, parks and most people want bike lanes and, things that benefit the community and make your neighborhood, a nice place to
You
live.
did that hot button issue on the bike lane thing.
Yeah.
But we coexist. We're coexisting out there. We're getting.
But that doesn't mean that to have those things that the prices that shouldn't mean that the prices go up so much that regular people can't afford to live in these neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Everyone deserves parks. Everyone deserves libraries. Everyone deserves all of the
That's
things.
that's what I like to hear, because as I think about this, we're looking for adequate housing for not only people who are lower income, but moderately income people as well. And what's moderate income in the city of Somerville? Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at the FY19 budget, and that FY19 budget, just every year you see, how many people live in the city, the census and all that, and what's going on. And to me, it just seems like, moderate income, 6 figures, whatever. A family wants to come in here, they want to raise a couple of children. How the heck do they do it?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to make $100,000 as a moderate income in this city? And can affordable housing somehow provide this family of 4, as an example, with a place where they can live, whether they're renting or where they want to buy for the first time?
Yeah.
And I say they can. I think it can get done. I hope it can get
so,
done.
yeah.
Because we need to keep, families in this city.
Yeah.
And to keep it diversified and keep it what it is.
Yeah.
That's how
and another issue with that is about the housing stock itself, because a lot of the stuff that's the new luxury apartments that are going to be built in Clarendon, the apartments in Assembly Row, those are 1 bedroom or studios. Those aren't built to house families.
Right. So the affordable housing is something that you're going to come back and we're going to talk about this some more, because we're going to get some positive results. I'm feeling really good about that. So a lot of my members have had to move out of this city because of that. It's probably at about 50-50 at best right now. So does our revolution have a game plan on how to attack this issue at all, or are they doing it through Somerville Stands Together and things like that, or?
I think that's the goal. We have an affordable housing working group, and we have the labor working group. So we're attacking this issue at many different on many different levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I just could bring up one thing, because we're running out of time. We're always running out of time because that's just the way it goes here. I want to talk about Union United as well as the neighborhood council. And I don't think anybody knows what that is.
Yeah.
So there's something going on, and can you just give us like maybe a 1-minute little thing on that one?
Yeah,
if you
so
could?
the neighborhood council was created as an idea to be the body that negotiates with the developer for the Union Square redevelopment, and a lot of people did some great work around that to make sure it was a democratic process and to make sure that the community knew anyone who lives and works in this area of Union Square could vote on who they want to sit on that neighborhood council. So, you know, I voted and was happy to see a lot of great people elected.
So again, you want the people to be able to have an opportunity to make a decision for themselves, for their future,
Exactly.
and where they live in the city
Exactly.
of Somerville. Okay. One thing I want to mention here too is that you sent me an email. We had a little exchange that we had at one point in time. I got to read this because it's really touched me when I read it, only because it's a labor thing. And here's what you said to me. You said, for me as an organizer, one of the most exciting tasks is internal organizing. Organizing people who already have a union and to see their union for what it can be and build real power. From an Our Revolution perspective, I really do believe that having a strong municipal employees union is a way to build a stronger city. You still feel that way?
I still very much feel that way.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, I like that. So the other thing too is that the building trades having a problem. They're having an issue getting in here. We talked about that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop that because that's not something that you know about it. But I want to have what I'd like to do is I'd just like to have a closing on this here about the building trades and why it's so difficult. Because this is going to lead into our next show.
Okay.
And I'm going to make just a little statement here that the city of Somerville has some 8,000 union members that currently live in the city. It seems to me that there is this stigma and a barrier in the city about unions. It's almost taboo to hire union workers on these new development projects. In a city that's undergoing so much redevelopment, how can the city afford not to utilize its most local and invested labor force? The Somerville Labor Show will tackle this subject on our next show. And again, thank you, Penelope
Thank you.
Jennewein. Very good guest, by the way. You helped me through this. I'm your host, Ed Halloran. Thank you for tuning in. And you know, as we say with the SMEA, in unity there is strength. Thank you. Penelope, before we go, I have to present you with this this is hot off the presses, man. This is great. Only in Somerville. I don't know if we get that, if people can see that out there. It's a great t-shirt. It's a lot of positivity that you can see there, right?
Yes.
You look at the back, there's the Somerville Municipal Employees Association emblem that we're always proud of. Every single year we always try to come up with something. So this is one of your lovely parting gifts.
Thank you.
So we hope you enjoy it and you wear it well
I will.
at your next rally.
Oh, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.